Hi, and welcome to my public journal. Today, I set out to implement the authentication for creating snippets right from the CLI tool that we are building. So I had previously implemented the creation from the CLI tool, but as I mentioned in yesterday's video, I had to implement the authentication, and I'm going to show you exactly what the code base is and how it works shortly. But that is what I set to do. And in the course of it, after I completed that, I was looking for what next to do, and I realized that I should find an easy way for people to also search for their snippets right on the CLI and implement or be able to grab any one of their snippet that they have stored on the database so far. So I was able to also implement that, and I'll show you soon. It hasn't been easy. I mean, I have very short time nowadays to work on this, but I'm trying my best to keep up and keep doing this. And also, as I keep saying, that the motivation for me is to help me get better, but also to show you how consistency can help every one of us, so that you're also motivated to want to keep on this journey. So if you're enjoying the series, please again, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're yet to, and show me some love by liking the video, leaving your comments. If you have any questions for me, if you have any suggestions for me, leave them in the comment. But before we go, let me show you a demonstration of what I actually did today. The two main things that I did today were with the creation of snippets using the CLI tool and the listing of snippets using the CLI tool. In fact, I started the day not thinking about the listing part, but as soon as I finished the creation part, I realized that it would be necessary to do something for listing, and I want to show you exactly how this is going to work. So for the creation of snippets using the CLI tool, I've already implemented a logic. In fact, it's a robust logic that allows various options, and maybe when I have enough time, I will demonstrate everything for you to see. But today I set out to integrate. So this is the function that I've created here. There are a couple of things that it does, and if we go into the command itself, so you see that here, let me show you, we have the add command, which can be used to add. If you have your code snippet in a file and you want to add it into the database directly, that's when you use that command. Or I also implemented an interactive version of it where you type everything on the console if you want. So that's possible. Then we have the create command as well, where you interact directly on the console by putting in using all of these flags. And I'll explain this in a subsequent video where I demonstrate everything. But just to show you what I worked on today, inside the creation, that's the post function that I have here, from yesterday's video, I showed you that I created the login session, and after logging in, I stored the token in a hidden file. So for me to be able to create a snippet on the database or the backend, I need to authenticate this specific individual who is trying to create the snippet. So how I do that is to call this retrieve token function, which I implemented to go grab the token that was stored in the hidden file. So it grabs that file and it uses it in the Azure score. So over here, you can see that we have the authorization, and I'm passing the token, the bearer token, to it. And that is how I'm able to authenticate this user. So I will do a quick demonstration. I tried it out earlier. So I'll do a quick demonstration. Let me show you what the database looks like right now. Currently, we have only 10 records in the database. So I'm going to try adding one to it. Let's just flip back to the commands I've run previously so that I don't waste time on it. Yeah, so I've implemented the snippets add command. And if I do snippets add hyphen help, it will give me how to use this. So you realize there are two possible flags when you're using it, the hyphen F flag or hyphen I flag. And that is whether you want to pass a file path or you want to use the interactive version of it. So in our case, we're going to pass a file path. And to even know if I want to create a file that will have the configuration of the snippet that I want to store to the database, I've also added a command known as snippets generate. So if you run snippets generate and you give it a file name, say we'll give our file in this location, let's call it yyy.js. If we run this, it will generate the template into it. So let's run that, and it says template generated at this. So I think now it uses the default one. I should have passed a flag. So if I wanted to know, I've forgotten exactly how I implemented, it's been a while. So if I want to know how to use it, I'll just say help, and it tells me that, oh, I needed to have passed -p. I needed to have passed -p to get the right data that I want. So for instance, if we go back and do -p and say yyy.js, this time around it should create a file called yyy.js. So you see over here yyy.js, and we have the sample templates in here. It's because we stored it as JS file. Ideally it's supposed to be a JSON file. That's how I implemented the format. It's supposed to be a JSON file. So you're going to enter your details and say I'm just entering anything, and your code snippet will go here. So let's say you type console.log, then you type something in here just for testing purposes. For programming language, maybe you choose JavaScript. All right, then category for now, let's just say CLI, and we wouldn't have a subcategory. For description, we can say test description. Then for tags, let's say JS node CLI. Then once we have this file, we can then push this file using the snippets add. So if I've created this file, I have my snippet in it, and I want to push to the database, what I'll do is to say snippets add, and because I want to pass the file, I use the option -f, then the name of the file. So in our case, the file is called yyy.json. So run this, and voila, this has been added. 6 snippets created successfully. So don't mind the console logs. That's how I was debugging the code. But let's go to our database. Originally we had only 10 records in the database. If you can remember, we had 10 records in here. We still have 10 records. Let's refresh this, and we should have the 11th record. And let's go and see the 11th record, which will be the last item here, last one. So if you see this last one, this is exactly what we typed in not long ago. Test description, console.log, HHA, JavaScript. That's when you look at the tags, those are exactly what we typed in there. So our data has been saved from the CLI onto the database. So this is exactly what we have here, which was now stored in the database. So whatever file that you have, you can actually push the code if your code is in a file. If it is not in a file, you want to type it as well, you are going to be able to type it, and that has been implemented. So behind the scene, this user needed to be logged in to be able to create the snippet. but because I've already implemented that functionality from yesterday, it was able to authenticate me, and now let me add it. The other thing that I added was to list, and this is really nice. I feel that this is going to help the utility of this. Assuming you have a lot of snippets in the database and you're looking for a specific snippet to add to a specific file, you're working in a project and you want a specific file, you just go ahead and do snippets lists. So snippet list will list the various snippets that you have in the database right now. So you can see that one, I have test snippets, the language is JavaScript, and category is React.js. So I can go through with the keyboard, the arrow on the keyboard. You can see that I'm going through one after the other. And if I find the specific one that I want to add, let's say it is this particular one, number 8, that I want to add to a file, I'll click on enter to choose that one, and it asks me enter the file path to save the snippet. So which file do I want to add this to? So let's assume I'm creating it from scratch. Let's say in this location we want to create a file called yes.js and hit enter. It says snippet was added to yes.js, and you can find the yes.js here, and this is the command, the snippet in there that has been added. So this is also working neatly, and I love that I was able to implement this. I've actually thought about a couple of other things to do, so I created a file here called todo.md, and I'm going to implement that soon. So this is the update on the progress with the code snippets CLI tool. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you are being motivated from watching these videos and you're learning a thing or two from it. I'm really grateful that you spend your time to watch this video. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to drop it in the comment section. You can also reach out to me on X at Obed, and I'm happy to chat with you up there. I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye bye.